Hi, I'm astrologer Penny Dix and welcome to another Astrobite. And today is for Thursday, the 3rd of April. And we have some really lovely energy, or interesting energy, might be a better choice of words, over the next few days. Today, the most important aspect is that Venus, our planet of love, relationship, self-worth and value, conjuncts the North Node. Now, the North Node, of course, is about our destiny. Not only our own personal destiny, but our collective destiny. And the North Node can also be about the karma that we take forwards into the next life. So moving forwards into the next stage of our life. Because we are in Pisces with this energy, so retrograde Venus is conjunct the North Node at 26 degrees and 37 minutes of Pisces. So what this does is it kind of emphasizes the fact that something is coming to some kind of conclusion or resolution. Now, this may actually be something around the issues that are going on in the United States. Now, I'm thinking about the hype there has been about Freedom Day or Liberation Day, or whatever way you want to look at it. And the effect that the potential changes, and remember, I'm recording this on the 2nd, so I don't know what actually unfolds today, the 2nd, but it is going to be affecting the economy of the planet. And certainly this morning, as I've been watching the news, the markets have been definitely selling off, big sell-off of stocks and shares. So I bring in finance because Venus is about value and it can be about the economy. And in the event chart, when they are exactly conjunct, Venus and the North Node, they're in the 2nd house. And the 2nd house is about finance. Now, the other interesting energy that we have, which we're going to have for a few days, is Saturn sextiling Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus in Taurus is in turn sextiling Mars in Cancer. And then you've got Saturn and Mars making a trine aspect. Now, these aspects are actually good aspects. They're all promising, encouraging, fortunate, opportunity-based aspects. So what's interesting is that Uranus in the 4th house of the event chart is in Taurus, of course, which is about finance, which is about economy. Now, for sure, we're going to see some ups and downs and U-turns and twists, changes, sudden events that affect things, that get everyone potentially a little bit concerned about how things are going to proceed forwards. Not just for the United States, but the way this is going to affect the decisions that are made, or these decisions will have a big impact on basically world trade and so world economy. But what about on a personal level? How is it going to affect us on a personal level? Because on an international level, really there's not a lot we can do about it. We can just observe. We can know with some kind of certainty that because both Venus and the Node, which are the forefront conjunction leaders in today's energy are in Pisces, the final sign of the zodiac, that this is a cycle that's completing. So whatever it is that is appearing to be going on is not going to be long lasting. There will be a shift in the energies when both Mercury and Venus go direct very shortly. You know, Venus, if we just stay with Venus for the moment, Venus actually goes direct on the 13th, 14th of April. And that's around the full moon in Libra. So, and interestingly, of course, Venus will come back and conjunct the North Node in Pisces on the 20th before it finally moves on and enters Aries. So by the 20th, I think there will be more clarity, more substance, more sense of how the economy is going to unfold in general. And I will bring it down to a personal level in a minute, because I know we all want to know how these things are going to affect us personally. But on the world kind of financial stage, this is life-changing. And it is going to affect a lot of people's incomes, their ability to spend, their disposable income. And there is something, I think, about this union of Venus and the North Node that is saying, be mindful of how far into the future this energy is going to be putting out its vibrations. Because what we have to look at is Neptune has now moved out of Pisces. It's at the 0 degrees of Aries. I think by the time Venus comes to conjunct Neptune, we will, as I said, actually, let me just see when Venus actually moves into Aries, because that is quite important. It's on the 30th. So Venus moves into Aries on the 30th. So at that point, it will also be virtually conjunct Neptune at the 0 degree of Aries. Now that is when we're going to see a little bit of a shift in the energies and a little bit more substance and definition, so that how things unfold from that point in or along onwards into the future, there will be a little bit more sense of the direction and stability, because action will be taken. I think April is going to be a month where, with regard to finances, the world is going to observe and just kind of tread water a little with this energy in Pisces. But what about on a personal level? Because this can be about fated love and soul connections. Now, I know you're wanting to get onto the interesting bit. So that relationships at this time, if you meet someone around this time, they can feel deeply karmic. And there can be a kind of feeling of just knowing the other person, a real inexplicable kind of link between you and another. And it's not always a beloved or a love relationship. It can be, you meet a friend, you meet a new friend, and you think, wow, how is it we're just on the same wavelength? We really connect. And I think this friendship or relationship can really grow over the month of April, so that potentially it can have quite long legs into the future. But the key point being the 20th, when Venus is actually direct and conjunct again with the North Node, that'll be a pivotal point on whether this relationship is going to move forwards. So there is something about, I think, Venus and the North Node that is unconditional. So there is very much a sense that we are being urged to raise above or rise above mundane love and the everydayness into much more romanticism and transcendent feeling, kind of, well, Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychoanalyst, called it the sacred marriage, the marriage between heaven and earth. And there is something about this kind of divine connection that comes from this. The thing is, what we have to be careful of also with this energy, the kind of shadow side, the downside, is that we become enraptured in somebody who is unavailable. So that is an aspect that we have to guard against. And, because sometimes it's literally that a partner is unavailable because of the distance between you in terms of their location. But sometimes it's because they're not free. And it may not be that they're not free because they're in another relationship, but it may be that they're just not free because they're not looking for commitment or relating or relationship. And because of the fated soul connection feel about this energy, it can bring out that side of us that thinks, oh, but with me it'll be different, and she will just know that it's me and it will just overcome everything. It probably won't, because usually these kind of really dramatic encounters don't always kind of have the long legs that we would like. I mean, sometimes they do, but at some point they have to change and move over from the romanticized ideal love into everyday relating and loving, which is a very, very different ball game. It's also a good energy whilst we have Venus conjunct the North Node for anything creative, painting, writing, dreaming, journaling, really getting in touch with those higher frequencies. And you can feel quite able, I think, with this energy to really surrender to the flow of life. And it's more likely that you'll find it easier to trust in that kind of sense of divine timing, even when things feel a bit unclear. And that's not necessarily just in relationships, but maybe also in any situation, that you'll be able to get a sense today of your value in the cosmos and how the divine mind, the divine intelligence does actually have your best interests at heart. And any obstacles or delays are timely. It's interesting, I'll just bring this in quickly about myself and not trusting sometimes the flow of the energies, because I received an SMS this morning from my internet provider saying that tomorrow, the 3rd, which is when this Astrobite is for, our internet will be offline all day because they're doing essential maintenance work. Oh, was I angry? I was the raging bull. This means I've got to try and reaccommodate clients. I will have to, rearrange my whole day. I will have to, it was really, I was not well pleased. But then, and I'm sitting here now and I'm still feeling that little knot of frustration and irritation that, the sort of, the divine has stepped in and said, we're not doing this today, or at least not on the time frame that you're looking at. And it's difficult to get back into that flow. For me personally, today, which is April 2nd, to just trusting that maybe it's just a day off. Maybe I can use this in a really positive way. I mean, as it is, I've got quite a lot of videos I want to prepare. So I'll have time to do my videos. I will also have time to do some creative writing, which of course will be perfect for the energy for the 3rd of April. So I say that because I think it's important to see that, you know, even though I, you know, as someone who has obviously clearly done a lot of work in these areas, understands the kind of way it works, I can't always operate within it because I'm human, because I'm finding it difficult to surrender to the unknown and to the change of the flow. So guess what my word for the day is, which I actually mentioned when I did my week ahead. It's surrender. And surrendering is a wonderful word because one of you, I think, mentioned about, I think it might have been you, Jim. One of you mentioned about it being not giving up, but surrendering. So I've found some wonderful quotes, as I do. So we've got Eckhart Tolle, who of course wrote the book, The Power of Now. Well, there's me forgetting about that today, the day I'm recording. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding rather than opposing the flow of life. Well, I need to read that today. I probably need to hear that tomorrow as well, when I play this video back. Marianne Williamson said, "The moment of surrender is not when life is over. It's when it begins." I mean, that is a wonderful statement because I don't think this is quite what she means, but I'm thinking about the surrendering to letting go, the surrendering to the death process, which is not a particularly kind of joyous thought to have, but I remember one of the things I learned when I was training as a therapist about the end of life and the transition and then end of life care and the kind of bereavement process and being allowed to live your own death. And it's actually quite special if you are lucky enough to be able to live your death and to surrender to that next great adventure. But moving on to Eckhart Tolle again, sometimes surrender means giving up trying to understand and becoming comfortable with not knowing. And of course, that is what everything is about. We have to constantly live with the uncertainty. And the uncertainty that is presented by the conjunction of Venus and the North Node in Pisces. Pisces, the sign of illusion, of confusion, of spiritual frequency highs that we aspire to. That to allow ourselves to live with the uncertainty, to surrender to the uncertainty of every single moment is a gift in itself. Lao Tzu said, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. And Deepak Chopra said, surrender is faith that the power of love can accomplish anything, even when you cannot foresee the outcome. So again, the faith of living with uncertainty. There's a Zen proverb which is, let go or be dragged. Well, that's very true sometimes, isn't it? How often we just need to let go. And Danielle Laporte said, surrender isn't about being passive. It's about being open. Actually, that is quite a powerful statement. No, it's not about being passive. It's actually about surrendering to and being active in your knowledge of your faith, of the uncertainty and the unknown. And then the last quote we have is an unknown, and it's, we can only learn to let go when we understand that holding on doesn't serve us. And that is so true. Me today, holding on to my irritation and anger, it's still there a bit, I can tell you. And I'm just hoping I can just let it go. Let it go. And because it's not serving me in any way at all. So I will work hard at letting go of it and surrendering to the fact that I will not be in charge tomorrow. Well, actually, of course, I'm never really in charge of tomorrow, am I? Neither are you. We just have to surrender to the uncertainty. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me for this Astrobite. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And remember, if you would like to have a session with me for astrology, then please go to my website, pennydix.com, and email me on penny@pennydix.com. And we'll have a little email chat about your time zone, my time zone, and see where we can meet with the right time for both of us for a session. And I'm going to be moving from Skype to Teams soon because they're actually transferring everything. So I'm hoping that'll just kind of be a smooth transition that will make my video calls to clients simple. Well, in theory, that's what I'm hoping. So thanks so much for joining me. And what can I say? I'll see you again soon. So thanks for joining me, and bye for now. Bye.